In today's matchup, we have the Mega Kaiju versus Muto Prime. The Mega Kaiju stands at right around 500 feet tall, while Muto Prime stands at right around 400 feet tall. Now, this is a very big matchup. This is just one of the many recommendations I've seen down below. There are a lot of recommendations, and I see you guys always put a bunch down there, and I'm always happy to see people giving recommendations. There are so many that obviously I can only get to so many. I try to keep track of as many as I can. There are obviously a bunch, but I promise I'm trying to get to as many as I can. But in this matchup, this is a very big matchup. 2 weeks ago, I did the video King Ghidorah versus Muto Prime. I had King Ghidorah barely win in that matchup. But in my opinion, King Ghidorah, the Mega Kaiju, and Muto Prime are all right around the same power level. They're all absolute powerhouses. Now, in my opinion, if all of those three were lined up, I do think King Ghidorah would beat both the Mega Kaiju and Muto Prime, fighting them individually. I know I did take the Mega Kaiju side when arguing with Jake about Mega Kaiju versus King Ghidorah. I did take the Mega Kaiju side there mainly just for the video's sake. I do believe Mega Kaiju beat Godzilla, but I do not believe that the Mega Kaiju would beat King Ghidorah. I do believe King Ghidorah would beat both of these Kaijus, but I do think both of these Kaijus could definitely hang with and do some major damage against King Ghidorah. As far as what Mega Kaiju comes into this battle with, the Mega Kaiju has an extreme bite force, lots of sharp teeth, has the special ability to absorb kinetic energy and redistribute it back out, and Mega Kaiju also has a lot of armor, has these spikes on his back, many spikes, and has the very deadly tails, perhaps the Mega Kaiju's best weapon. As far as Muto Prime goes, Muto Prime also has a lot of armor, has the armored shell, has the earthquake footsteps, which will be very interesting to see how that ability works against the Mega Kaiju, who absorbs kinetic energy. Muto Prime also has the Sonic Screech, probably her main weapon, and then has the tendrils that's used to lay the eggs inside of another Titan. And then as far as what these two have done in their individual movies, the Mega Kaiju, obviously, as you know, took on the 4 Jaegers in the end of the movie, was able to take on all of them at the same time, push them all back, and then was able to individually rip each of them apart. Now, Gypsy Avenger was able to survive and eventually kill the Mega Kaiju in an unorthodox way, but ultimately the Mega Kaiju went up against all 4 Jaegers at the same time, pushed them back, and then individually beat them all. Now, they were very unexperienced pilots, but nonetheless a very impressive feat, defeating very, very advanced Jaegers. As far as Muto Prime, we only have what came from the graphic novels, but in the graphic novel, Muto Prime is already known to have taken down Godzilla, many different Godzillas. Godzilla is a very formidable foe, as we know, top-tier strength, and Muto Prime was basically just hunting these things one by one, and it wasn't until the Godzilla we know and love came along, had some help by Emma Russell in that graphic novel to actually take down Muto Prime, and is the male and female Muto combined, so obviously it's going to be a very big threat. That's a very interesting thing to note, is that the Mega Kaiju is 3 Kaijus combined, 2 Category 4s and a Category 5, and the Muto Prime is actually 2 Kaijus combined. Because we know Muto Prime is created when the female Muto actually kills the male Muto and becomes one. So that's a very interesting item to note, especially we'll bring that up later in this matchup. As far as breaking this down, these two are very similar, and especially looking at their images together, and they are very similar, and it's very hard to give either of them the main items I note in the end of these battles. Because ultimately, the size is going to go to Mega Kaiju no matter what, has at least 100 feet on Muto Prime, and I'd say feats goes to Muto Prime in this battle. And the reason I say this is because we obviously know that this is 2 Mutos combined, and this Muto Prime is known to be killing Godzillas. Now, Godzilla is obviously a colossal force. You really don't think about Godzilla losing to too many creatures, especially one-on-one. And the fact that Muto Prime would actually hunt down and kill Godzillas and lay its eggs inside them is really something that should give Muto Prime a lot of respect. It definitely does, and I think that would definitely give Muto Prime the feats. Now, as far as weapons, I would have to give it to Mega Kaiju, because not only is the tails extremely deadly, those 2 tails very, very effective, but also the Mega Kaiju's main weapon of having the kinetic energy absorption redistribution power, I think that will be extremely effective in this matchup. Creating that earthquake will either just give Mega Kaiju more power or really not do anything at all. Having items bouncing around, hitting off him because of that earthquake shaking around will only power the Mega Kaiju up more in this battle, in my opinion. And I know people get on me about maybe giving the Mega Kaiju too much credit for those tails, but through the movie, I just can't deny that those are very deadly, and those are extremely powerful weapons. It's an extremely powerful weapon that can be used not only at close range, but also long range. And speed and agility I'd have to give to Muto Prime. Now the reason for this is kind of the one I mentioned in the King Ghidorah vs. Muto Prime video, is that the Mutos are very fast, or at least the male is very fast, the female's pretty fast, in the Godzilla 2014 movie. And so it's only logic from that I would say these two combined, while being slower, would definitely be quicker than the Mega Kaiju, who's been shown to be pretty slow and not do many quick moves, versus the Mutos, who are both running around quickly, and the male Muto, who's flying around, showing a lot of agility there. The ultimate factor this comes down to is durability. Now, who gets it? Both of these Kaijus are very durable, have a lot of armor. You see Jaegers tearing into Mega Kaiju with really no effect. So many different weapons being used. And obviously we know Muto Prime has a lot of armor. Now, we don't really know the extent of this armor. The Mutos are being able to be pierced pretty easily by Godzilla's atomic breath, and it is 2 Mutos combined, which gives it more armor, but the Mega Kaiju is 3 Kaijus combined. Now you can argue about which Kaijus are tougher from which universe, but I'd have to go with the 3 Kaijus in the Mega Kaiju that give it more armor, and that's proven in the movie that we've seen. So durability would have to go to the Mega Kaiju in my opinion, because it kind of makes sense with the 3 Kaijus combined, and just basically watching the movie, seeing all the Jaegers attacking, stabbing, hitting him, not only just with how much armor is in the Mega Kaiju, but how much damage he's able to take reflects that the durability would definitely go to Mega Kaiju. But as far as if these two were lined up, in my opinion, these two are both right below King Ghidorah. I think they could easily stand toe-to-toe with him. So these two would just be so close underneath, and that's what I think would make this matchup so insanely close. They're both insanely durable. They're both right around the same size, even though the Mega Kaiju I do think has a little under 100 feet of height advantage on Muto Prime. Muto Prime has the Earthquake Footsteps, which I do think the Mega Kaiju would just use to his advantage, and Muto Prime does have the Sonic Screech, which we don't know the extent of what that would do on the Mega Kaiju. Mega Kaiju has the Deadly Tails, the Bite Force, the arms, the durability, the size, the weapons, while Muto Prime does have effective feats being able to kill Godzilla. So I have no doubt in my mind that Muto Prime could win this battle, and in my opinion, will have the speed and agility. But as far as in this battle, only one can stand at the end. And I think with the Mega Kaiju having the slight size advantage, the better weapon, and the better durability, I do feel that the Mega Kaiju will be able to get some hits off with the tails, will be able to use that redistribution, kinetic energy power, and will be able to, with that Bite Force, with the arms, with all those items combined, will be able to eventually get enough damage off on Muto Prime, especially get some damage off to the head, which is how Godzilla killed Muto Prime in the end. And I do feel this will be an insanely close matchup, but I am confident that the Mega Kaiju would win this fight and get the win in the end. But make sure you let me know down below who you think will win in this matchup. I honestly think this could go either way. This is an insanely close matchup, and it would be epic to see these two go up against each other. And honestly, if we would have seen Muto Prime on an actual movie screen, my opinion could probably be changed just by that. But make sure you let me know down below, and thanks for watching.